And here we go. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Rundown. I am your host, Ben Peterson, alongside co-host Justin Tavener. Justin, my friend, it's the first round of the NBA playoffs. How you feeling, man?
Feeling good. My Thunder won, so can't be too upset. 1-0, 15 more to go. So
They tried their best to not win, but they did win. They did win.
yeah,
Um, we'll get into that game in a little bit. I challenge you to find a better take than the one that I have. You see what I did there?
boo.
Right. All right, let's get into the rundown recap. So, first story legendary Jets quarterback Zach Wilson is getting a fresh start in Denver as he's going to be a Bronco and work with legendary coach Sean Payton. The Denver Broncos have traded a sixth-round pick to the New York Jets for Zach Wilson and a seventh. The 2021 number 2 overall pick out of BYU has an opportunity to have a career resurgence after, let's call it what it is, a poor showing to start his NFL career. Are you ready for these stats, Justin? I'm gonna give you some.
I'm not, but
All right. Well,
come on me.
he started 33 games as a Jet. In those 33, he had an 11-21 record, a 33.6 QBR, a 57% completion percentage, which is last among qualified quarterbacks since 2021, and a 23-25 touchdown to interception ratio. That doesn't exactly scream Hall of Famer. I will be a little fair to Zach Wilson. The Jets haven't exactly been a good team during his tenure, and their problems went far beyond him. Like we'll call it what it is. Like he doesn't deserve all of the blame, but he wasn't necessarily doing anything to remove the blame. So this trade leaves the Jets with 40-year-old, fresh off an Achilles rupture, Aaron Rodgers, and 34-year-old Tyrod Taylor as the only two quarterbacks on the roster. So before we move on to the Broncos, Justin, do you think the Jets need to draft a quarterback this year? And if they do, who should it be?
I think they should be drafting a quarterback here. I just don't think that they will. I think their problems are. But they're with Aaron Rodgers being 40 years old, they are in win now mode. Like they want to win a Super Bowl within the next either this year or next year because you got to think Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. Maybe he's Tom Brady. Maybe he plays to 45. Ooh. Are you really banking on that though? Are you really going to bank on him playing to 45 when he just scattered his Achilles 4 plays into a season last year? I'm not. But that being said, you have to assume he's got 1 or 2 years left. And do the Jets organization really want to use one of these picks, especially because outside of the first round, outside of the 6 guys that could go in the first round, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels, unless you want to waste a first-round pick on one of them, you're not getting anything special. Like those are the 6 guys that have the best chance to be special this year. Outside of that, none of these guys, the rest of the quarterbacks that are in the draft are not going to be guys that are going to be like franchise-altering guys. So at that point, you may as well just roll the dice, draft some pieces around Aaron Rodgers, another receiver. I don't know, maybe your garbage offensive line needs a boost. Like, there are some, defense, not an issue. I think they need to address offensive line and maybe get him another receiver outside of Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams. Because, let's be honest, Mike Williams hasn't finished a season in the last 2 or 3 years. So, I think their needs are seated more there than trying to get a quarterback and using Aaron Rodgers as a bridge for when he retires.
For sure. And I mean, it's weird, isn't it, calling Aaron Rodgers a bridge? But I mean, if we're being honest, I feel like that's where he's at in his career. We haven't seen, his last year in Green Bay and then his 4 plays in New York don't exactly scream, MVP caliber anymore. Plus, I mean, I know medicine's gotten a lot further than it used to be, but I still feel like an Achilles rupture, you're not going to quite be the same person, especially at 40, that you were before you did it. So, obviously, I want to see A-Rod have a couple of good years left. I mean, shoot, he is, regardless of his kind of personality quirks and everything, he is still a legend of the game, and I would love to see him go out with a bang, but it'll be interesting to see. So the other half of this trade, the Broncos, they add a 3-year veteran to their team to play alongside Jarrett Stidham. And while this is hardly an upgrade, it does give the Broncos some
Hey. You forgot Ben DiNucci.
There's a reason for that.
And so did everybody else in America.
It does give the Broncos a little bit of flexibility moving forward. Zach Wilson, I will say, to his credit, he has shown that he can be productive, such as the game against the Chiefs, where he actually posted better stats than Mahomes. Sean Payton had Russell Wilson playing better, so I'd have to assume that if anyone can get the best out of Zach, it's him. So, does this trade make you think that the Broncos are still looking to draft their future quarterback this year, or what would you do if you were their GM? What would your plans be?
I would absolutely be looking at a quarterback this year. Mm-hmm. Given where they are in the draft, they're somewhere in the top 15. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, 12, 13, somewhere in that area. I would be looking if it is possible to move up into the top 7, 6, 5, 4, somewhere in that range if you can. But if not, I have a feeling that one of those 6 guys that I mentioned earlier, is probably going to fall to you if I had to guess. Just because, everybody ahead of you doesn't need a quarterback unless teams are jumping ahead of you that do need quarterbacks. But if I'm the Broncos GM here, I am absolutely 1,000% looking to move up and looking to draft a quarterback. Because while you did say that Zach Wilson has shown to be productive, let's not sit here and act like he didn't. I mean, his offensive line was garbage, but he had solid pieces. He had a great defense. He had Garrett Wilson. He had Breece Hall. Like, it's not like he had nothing to work with.
Yeah, and I mean,
I just think that teams got so enamored with his big arm when in the 6 games that he played his senior year at BYU. People got so enamored with that, and it was
they got enamored with his pro day. It wasn't even those games. They saw his pro day throws because it was in the middle of COVID. We had literally nothing else to watch, so they saw his throws and they were like, "Huh, that looks pretty good."
Yeah, and it's like, did you not watch? I don't know, the rest of his college career? Because that's not pretty good.
No,
that ain't it, dog.
I've seen his whole career, and I've got to say, it's the biggest piece of dog.
So if I'm the Broncos GM, I am still 1,000% looking to draft a quarterback.
For sure.
Given that your quarterback room is Zach Wilson, Jarrett Stidham, and Ben DiNucci. Yeah.
I will say, I do kind of hope, just because I like a good underdog story, and I feel like Zach Wilson redeemed himself a little bit at the end with the Jets. Because I didn't like him at all after his first couple of years, but I really felt like last year I really felt like they did him dirty in New York. Not saying he was great and deserved, a better chance, stuff like that, but he deserved to be treated better than he was. So part of me kind of hopes that he at least has a little bit of success in Denver. Like maybe he beats out Jarrett Stidham and at least looks serviceable until they want to start, Bo Nix or whoever it is that they draft. But, there's also the part of me that's realistic about it and is the Broncos, I don't really know why you made this move, but all right. Anyway, any final thoughts on that trade?
I will say one thing. Back when Sean Payton was with the Saints, he got a young a young quarterback that had 3 years of experience. His name was Drew Brees.
That's true.
Not saying. that Zach Wilson's going to be Drew Brees, but like
You heard it here first.
it's the same. It's
You
the
heard it
same
here.
situation. No,
You
I'm
heard it here.
just kidding.
You heard it here first, Rundown listeners. Justin Tavener believes that Zach Wilson is going to be the next Drew Brees. How does
If
this?
Zach Wilson throws for 70,000 yards in his career, I will personally buy you. I'll buy you a Lamborghini.
Let me make a quick phone call really quick. I'm just gonna tell them that they're. I'm just gonna tell them that there are hot moms at every game. He'll do the Jordan Poole thing where Jordan Poole went off when he saw them girls. He just does like our rookie year on Madden crap where like we turn it on rookie mode and throw for like 15,000 yards in a season.
About to see him like standing on the sideline, just the LeBron,
the pissed off Miami LeBron. Yeah, I love it. All right, on to my favorite headline that I've ever written. Shot through the heart, and Jamal Murray's to blame. Jamal Murray hits an insane buzzer beater over Anthony Davis to cap off a 20-point comeback as the Denver Nuggets beat the Lakers 101-99. Before I get into the stats, this one hurt. Like, obviously, I wanted the Lakers to win this series, and I'll get into my thoughts here in a second. But to see them up 20 just before halftime, and then to see them come into the third quarter with a 10-point lead, it just felt like their game to lose. And well, it's the Lakers we're talking about here, so they did it all right. Let me just get into these stats here. So Denver takes a 2-0 series lead after coming back from down 20. Jokic had arguably his worst first half of basketball ever and finished with 27 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists. Jamal Murray was out there looking like that Spice Adams gif of him shooting him, and they're like hitting the top of the backboard. And the Jamal Murray missed 13 of his first 16 shots. And
that's not great.
He went 0 for 5 from 3, but he still finished with 20 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists on 9 for 24 shooting. And then Michael Porter Jr. had 22, 9, and 1. So Jamal Murray hit the game winner, but otherwise the Lakers did a great job of shutting him down. They had that man flustered. They had that man missing everything. Like, I'm pretty sure that I could have gone out there, taken 16 shots in an NBA game, and made more of them than he did to start that. Like, that was rough. I could not actually do that. Anybody listening to this podcast, I'm not being serious. I am all of 5'10", and I would get my stuff volleyball spiked behind me so hard by anybody on that court, it's not even funny. But still.
Anthony Davis would have spiked it so hard that it would have bounced off of the ground and hit the Jumbotron.
Do you remember when Draymond threw that, like, insane pass to Clay and it just went off his face, and then somebody photoshopped the Wilson imprint on his face, or the Spalding imprint on his face? Yeah, that would have been me after Anthony Davis spiked it on me. You see this little shiny part right here? Just Spalding. Or I guess it's Wilson now, but yeah. Speaking of the Lakers, LeBron had 26, 8, and 12. So, I mean, that's a solid outing. Anthony Davis had 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. D'Lo had 23, 3, and 6. However, outside of their starting 5, the Lakers got 0 help from their bench, as only Taurean Prince scored. They played like 4 other guys, and they all posted some big old zeros. The Lakers, they're just running into the same problems as last year. Their lack of depth, like LeBron and AD, the second they take a rest, the rest of their team just gets dog-walked. Not to mention, Darvin Ham is very quickly proving that he does not need to be a head coach because he just makes the most boneheaded substitutions I've ever seen. Like, I'm sorry. You have a 10-point lead.
Preach, brother, preach.
You have a 10-point lead to start the fourth quarter, and you have Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Vanderbilt, and Taurean Prince on
Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, on the floor to start the fourth quarter. Jamal Murray had 14 in the fourth quarter. You clamped him all game. And then you start that lineup of guys that, don't get me wrong, Spencer Dinwiddie was a bucket like 10 years ago. But just, what are we doing? Justin, did the Lakers just blow their chance to win the series? What little chance they had?
1000%. If it wasn't over going into the series, it is 1000% over now. You mean to tell me that the Lakers now have to win 4 of 5
Meanwhile, they're 0
against
and
the team
10
that they have lost? I was saying, against the team
against.
that they have lost 10 straight. Like the thing when it comes to these NBA playoff series is like you can't take you have to look at like when a team gets blown out and it's it's a double digit spread like game 1 was. You have to take that with a grain of salt because you look at those and you're like, all right, both teams, if they're an evenly matched, if they're evenly matched teams, both teams are going to get their lick. They're going to win a game by a lot of points. And you just have to kind of like accept it, winning by 30, winning by 2, you still just won one game. So it's not like, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
A great example of that. A great example of that is the 2016 NBA Finals where the Warriors and Cavs sat there and traded off dog walking each other until Game 7.
Yeah.
Like,
but what makes a difference in these series are these close games, these last possession. It comes down to the last minute. It's, 2, 3, 4, 5 points is making the difference. And it's the little things that are making the difference in this. And it's, LeBron jacking up a 3 with 16 seconds left and nobody around him when he could have and should have taken the ball back out, reset, and got a good shot. I know he was open, but what had he been doing the entire second half? Was it, I don't know, 3 feet behind the 3-point line jacking up threes? No, it was getting to the bucket. In the entire first half, what was it? It was him and Anthony Davis running these pick and rolls. That's why Anthony Davis had 32, because LeBron would just do with a pick and roll and then dump it down to him, and Anthony Davis would have an easy dunk.
well, so yeah,
And they just did not do that the entire fourth quarter.
yeah, and that's one of those.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Like they absolutely blew their chance because they had them up 20. You just had to keep doing what you were doing.
Yeah,
and they just didn't.
And as much as I feel like
they got away from everything that put them up 20.
Right.
And it's so frustrating.
As much as I feel like Darvin Ham should be to blame for that as well, because he did pull them away from the pick and roll. Also, like, you're LeBron freaking James. Like, you and I consider him the GOAT. And I know he's old. I know he was gassed, but that's the kind of stuff that you expect from the GOAT. You expect them to drive in. You expect them to take the game over. And I don't know. Like, the thing is, he was gassed, so I don't know why he thought he had the legs to pull up like Steph Curry. And like, it wasn't close. Like, the way he missed it, it wasn't close. Like, oh, man. But, no, like you said, they got away from the pick and roll. Anthony Davis didn't score in the fourth quarter. Like, I don't know. Like, as much as I want to give LeBron and AD credit for carrying the Lakers and getting them into the situation they were in to be up that much, you have to harp on them too because you blew it. And
to me, though, it's not LeBron and AD. It's
everybody else. What more can they do?
59 points from them in game 1 and 58 from them in game 2.
Right.
They're scoring basically 30 points a game combined.
Yeah, you can't win with 9 points from your bench.
What more do they have to do? Like,
you can't win when your bench gives you 9.
Yeah, like outside of those two, they're giving you 60 a game basically. We'll call it 60,
and you're getting 20.
And the rest of your team is getting you 30,
maybe.
I mean, genuinely, like they scored 26 and 32, so that's 58, and they scored 99 total points. So 41 points from the rest of your team.
Yeah, supposedly Austin Reeves was out there. I couldn't tell, but supposedly he was out there. And I know he's young, but this was the game. If you were going to steal a game from Denver, this was the game to do it. You had them down, and you needed it. You needed it because now, like you said, you got to win 4 of 5, and it's not going to happen. Like,
no.
As much as I wanted the Lakers to win this series, like, the fat lady may not be singing, but I can hear her warming up backstage, so There was one
She's
more.
getting dressed.
Right. There was one more thing. So LeBron ended his press conference pissed off at officiating, talking about the replay because there was a foul on Michael Porter Jr. that got overturned where he hit D'Lo like just in the face with his arm, and they said it was incidental contact, and they overturned it. You know, I understand the complaint, but for that to be how he ends his press conference, it kind of feels like he's being a sore loser. You know, like, and it's the same way I felt, and we'll get to this in a minute. It's the same way I felt about Embiid. Whenever, you know, they lost that game, and Embiid's first thing he says is talking about the officiating. It's like, dog, you lost. So, I don't know. What were your thoughts on that? Because that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not going to lie.
To me, I have the same thoughts on complaining about officiating, and I am 99% sure I've voiced them on this podcast before. If you don't want to complain about officiating, don't let it get to that point.
Right. You had a 20-point lead, and you're over here bitching about one call.
Yeah, you know how you don't complain about a call that the refs make? If you're up by 20, and then you, I don't know, win the game by like 10, 15, you don't even have to play the last like 3-4 minutes of the game because you're up by so much, then it doesn't matter. Right. Then you never are in that situation.
Yeah.
But because you and the rest of your team are dog water, you put yourself in that situation, and this is the result. Now you have to complain about officiating when you shouldn't have even been in that situation to begin with.
For sure.
I don't want to hear it.
The only time I will accept like complaining about officiating is when it decides the game. You know, we see like, for example, the Cincinnati Super Bowl where they hadn't called anything all game, and then they call 15 penalties in the last 30 seconds so that Rams get first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth and goal. And then they score. You know, it's like they're going to get in there eventually. So it's just like, if that were the case, if it were like, you know, LeBron got freaking, freaking tombstone pile driver from The Undertaker on a game-winning three-pointer that he didn't get called. Okay, I understand that, you know, or Anthony Davis goes to the rim and Jokic just RKOs him and they don't call it. Like, okay.
Or like D'Lo spots up a three and he just gets stabbed on the court. Like, sure.
Austin Reeves for the win, and by God, it's Randy Orton with a steel chair, and there's no foul. Like, okay, but this was in the third quarter. What are we talking about? Okay, on to the next story. So Dante DiVincenzo earned the most coveted award in basketball. No, it's not the Kia MVP award. It's the Mike Breen double bang, baby. As he hits, yes, sir. As he hits the go-ahead three-pointer to lead the New York Knicks over the Philadelphia 76ers, 104-101. The Knicks were dead to rights, and with 28 seconds left, and all of a sudden they're up 2-0. The Sixers were up 101-96, and Jalen Brunson hit a three, and then there was just a flurry of chaos, and the Knicks had a higher effort level than the Sixers did, and so DiVincenzo got a chance to brick a game-winning three. Somehow they got the rebound. He got it kicked back out to him, and then he got to hit the game-winning three. Yeah, Jalen Brunson was 24, 8, and 6 on 8 for 29 shooting. Josh Hart
had to clean off his glasses there.
Make sure that they were, woo. Josh Hart had 21, 15, and 3, and then Dante DiVincenzo had 19, 4, and 3 in the game-winning double bang. Meanwhile, Joel Embiid had 34, 10, and 6. Tyrese Maxey had 35, 9, and 10, and then the rest of the Sixers combined had 32 points. So it's the Lakers, but in Philly. Justin, I want to see if you can find something to blame, because I'm still kind of at a loss for words. Who's at fault for the Sixers' collapse? I mean, up 5 with 28 seconds left. How do you not close that?
Dude, I don't know. Like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, first of all, I do want to say I have seen videos of Nick Nurse calling a timeout and it not being called.
I've seen that too.
He was on the sideline like this, calling a timeout, and nothing was done. And my thing about that is, as an NBA ref, you have to know situational,
Oh yeah.
like situational games where if, I don't know, there's what, 14 seconds left in a playoff game and it's a 2 point, or, yeah, at that point it was a 2 point game after Jalen Brunson made that three and they have a timeout. Why is your first instinct not to look to Nick Nurse and see that he's calling a timeout? Like, why, as an NBA ref, is that not your first instinct? Like, that seemed a little shady to me. I don't know.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same kind of instinct as the umpire throwing out Aaron Boone, the Yankees manager, for a fan yelling at him. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
But yeah, who's at fault? The whole team.
Can I offer
every single person?
Can I offer a potential answer?
Sure.
I think it's the lack of effort. Like, genuinely, if you watch that last sequence, it was all heart from the Knicks. You know, they got shoot, what's his name? Their center.
Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah, Hartenstein. They got him like on the ground, grabbing a rebound and yeeting it out to I think it was Josh Hart who kicks it over to DiVincenzo.
And
Anunoby. Okay, yeah, well, close enough. Like, you know, it's just all heart. And the Sixers, I think it's a little bit of Embiid. Like, I think it's that, like, his mentality. Like, I think Embiid's a little soft, and so I think they just kind of pulled up. You know, it's like your sprinters who think they've got it won, and so they pull up and jog it in at the end. You know, like that's how that game felt. It felt like the Sixers were like, "Well, we got this. It's 1-1." That would be my explanation, because otherwise, I ain't.
Yeah, because in that same sequence, you see like Tyrese Maxey after he loses the ball, he kind of just like lays on the ground for a second, and then after the shot's missed, then he kind of like gets up to his knees, and then as DiVincenzo is taking his second shot, is when he's just now getting inside the 3-point line. Like, it took him the entire sequence of losing the ball, Dante DiVincenzo taking 2 shots, fumble for the ball and everything, for him to get up off the floor and take like 2 steps inside the 3-point line.
Also,
instead of losing the ball and doing everything you can to get up and try to do anything you can to go after a rebound or something, or close out on DiVincenzo, or like anything. Like,
also,
there was zero effort from Maxey in that play.
On that brick by DiVincenzo, the first attempt, why was Joel Embiid boxing out Josh Hart and not going for the rebound?
Or at least boxing out, I don't know, the other 7-footer on the court.
Hartenstein? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's box out this 6'6" Josh Hart.
Right. Like, I saw that and I was like, but isn't Embiid the center? Isn't he the one supposed to be up there getting the ball? Because all you got to do is come down with the rebound.
You come down with a rebound, you're getting fouled, you're going to the other end, make a free throws, game over.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? So, I have another question here, but I'm going to save it for another segment. I will say, though, we did think that Philly was going to be a dark horse team. Here they are down 0-2, Justin. It's
where the rundown was wrong.
Yikes. We were like, oh, they're going to get Joel Embiid back. They're going to be scary. The Knicks aren't going to do anything. They don't have Randall.
I don't know. I'm pretty scared of watching the Sixers play again, just because it's horrible basketball.
True. I just noticed your note on my next segment. All right. So we got 5 Game 2 matchups tonight and tomorrow. So we're gonna see who the rundown thinks is gonna win and why. So our first matchup, the Phoenix Suns and the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota. Justin, Who wins that game?
It is actually currently happening, but before the game started, obviously we wrote these notes. I went with the Phoenix Suns.
I also went with the Phoenix Suns, and because of the way you said that, I just have a feeling that the T-Wolves are up like 50.
Yeah, I haven't checked in a while, and I'm honestly a little
I'm
scared
terrified.
too.
I'm terrified. Like I just know it's gonna be
Yeah.
like 62-3.
I don't think it's that bad. Last I checked, it was 20-17 Minnesota. Oh, Phoenix is up 36-31 midway through the second.
Hey, okay.
All right.
All right, game number 2. We got the Pacers and the Bucks in Milwaukee. Justin, who wins this game?
I'm giving it to the Pacers. I think that, they shot like uncharacteristically bad. They shot 21% from 3. I don't think that's happening again. I'm going with the Pacers.
Yeah, I will say them shooting like Houston game 7 in 2017 or 18, whichever it was, that they shot 27 straight bricks from 3. I don't see that happening again. Is Giannis back for this game?
He is not.
Not? Okay. I don't know why I thought he was when I made my pick. I'm going to stand by it. I think the Bucks are going to win. I think home court, they'll defend it. The Pacers have been kind of hit or miss lately, especially Halliburton has been kind of all over the place. So I'm going to stick with my initial pick of the Bucks, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Pacers won.
Fair enough.
All right, game number 3. We have probably...
That is the final game on today.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite series in the playoffs. It's the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Clippers. Justin, who wins this game?
I'm giving this one to the Mavs. Very similar to the Pacers. They scored 8 points in the second quarter. I'm going to say that again. An NBA team in an actual NBA game with 12 NBA minutes and NBA players on their team scored a total of 8 points.
Oh, God.
Once again, I don't see that happening.
No.
So I'm going to go with the Mavs. I do think that Kawhi is back. I'm not 100% sure. I saw that he was at shoot around today, but I'm not sure if he's actually like cleared, ready to go for tonight's game.
Yeah.
If he's not ready for tonight, he'll be ready for game 3.
In all honesty, with Kawhi back, that makes me feel better about my pick. I'm going with the Dallas Mavericks as well. I just think adding a player into the rotation in a game is always kind of rough. Plus, I just think that Kawhi is going to get breathed on too hard and his knee's going to swell up again. So, and I just think that Luka is the best player on the court by far. And Kyrie on any given night can be the second best player on the court. And I think they'll just put it together. So I'm picking the Mavs. Game number 4 tomorrow. We got the Heat and the Celtics in Boston. Justin, this is going to be a shocker. Who wins this game?
I'm going with the might. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going with the Boston Celtics.
We don't even need to say anything. I'm going with the Celtics as well. All right.
That is zero explanation.
And the final game, the New Orleans Pelicans, there we go, and the Oklahoma City Thunder in OKC. Justin, who wins?
Thunder.
Oh, that's what you
Thunder.
I had no idea what you were doing there for a second. All right, so you're picking the Thunder. I'm actually gonna lean Pelicans. This series I think is gonna go 7. I'm picking OKC to win it, but I think the Pelicans are gonna steal a game here, and it's gonna make the Thunder's job a little harder. So I'm picking Pels in this one.
Fair enough.
Alrighty, let's move on. It is the return of everyone's favorite segment, the reason they listen. So, Justin, what I thought here for your categories, I'll read the category name if you want to read the teams. I'll do like a fun radio voice.
Okay,
cool.
Sounds good to me.
So, why don't you lead us into this segment?
Yeah, so we are going to rank all 16 teams in the NBA on how likely that they are to win the finals, given the fact that we are, 1 to 2 games into each series. So I kind of split all 16 teams up into 4 different categories. So, Ben, why don't you introduce the first one?
All right, coming in at the first category, we've got no shot.
Yeah, so these are teams with 0% chance. They're dead in the water. I'm not, no shot. That is number 16, the Miami Heat, with the 0%. Number 15, the Los Angeles Lakers, 0. Number 14, the Pelicans. You get the trend here. And number 13, the Philadelphia 76ers. So all of the 7 and 8 seeds, they're all facing an uphill battle. But, they're just facing a better team.
Give them that Dame Lillard wave. All
Yeah,
right.
they're done.
The next category, we have bad matchups ahead.
Yeah, so these are teams that I think if they were to escape this round, they're going to face teams in the next round that they just don't match up well with, or just so much better than they are. So coming in at number 12, that is the Orlando Magic. I'm giving them a 1% chance. The Pacers coming in at 11, also with a 1% chance. Then into the top 10, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm giving them a 4% chance. And then I'm also giving the Phoenix Suns a 4% chance.
Okay, I like it. The next category, dark horse.
Yeah, so this is the category where I feel like if something falls their way, maybe they get a break, maybe a team on the other side of the bracket, loses that they don't match up well with. They could go on a run. They have the pieces there. So coming in at number 8, that's going to be the New York Knicks. I'm giving them a 5% chance. Number 7, the Dallas Mavericks have a 6% chance. Number 6, the LA Clippers, also with a 6% chance. And number 5, the Milwaukee Bucks with a 6% chance.
All right, and your top 4. This is the rundown's true title contenders.
Yeah, so these are the teams that I think could go all the way and win the NBA Finals. Pretty self-explanatory. Coming in at number 4, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves at a 7% chance. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder at a 10% chance. I have the Denver Nuggets at a 25% chance, and the Boston Celtics at a 25% chance as well. So Denver and Boston kind of tied up there at 1 and 2.
All right, fair enough.
Any thoughts, questions, concerns, notes on the rankings and percentages?
I think that the Heat are too high. You should put Sacramento in over them.
Okay, I was just making sure I knew how to count to 16.
Yeah, you should put Sacramento in over them. And then no, I like it. No qualms here.
Cool.
All right, and this is a shorter episode this week. We are going to wrap it up with our hot takes as always. So, I will get us started with my first hot take. Anthony Davis should be the Defensive Player of the Year this year. He played in 76 of 82 games, and he has been on another level defensively. Rudy Gobert, I mean, he's been good as a defender, but I would argue whenever you get voted as the most overrated player by your peers, I don't think you should be able to be in contention for Defensive Player of the Year. Meanwhile, Anthony Davis has had an argument as the best Lakers defender since Shaq this year, and he's not even in the top 3. So that's my hot take. I think Anthony Davis should at least get way more consideration for Defensive Player of the Year, but I honestly think he's earned it.
Fair. My first hot take is kind of in the same, not in the same vein, but in the same topic, is that LeBron James and Anthony Davis will both not be a part of the Los Angeles Lakers franchise next season. They are both gone, and that means that the Lakers will be essentially going into rebuild mode again.
If only they had a smart owner. All right. My second hot take. Are you ready for this, Justin?
Lay it on me.
There is a northern division that will be the best division in the NFL this year, but it's not the AFC North. You heard it here first. The NFC North will be the best division in football this year.
Is the man...
Hear me out. They have the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, both with playoff experience now, and they're really great teams. I mean, they could potentially be the first and second best teams in the NFC next year. They've got the Vikings with the best receiver in football, a solid number 2, and they've got a serviceable bridge quarterback in Sam Darnold. Say what you want about Sam Darnold. I do not believe that his struggles at the Jets were his fault. Not saying he's Tom Brady, but I think he's better than he showed there. And the Chicago Bears have built well for Caleb Williams, and they should potentially be a 10-win team. This division could see 3, maybe all 4 teams make the playoffs, kind of like the AFC North almost did.
The only reason I could definitely see that happening is because the NFC is so north. Yeah, the NFC is so bad.
Yeah.
Whereas like, the AFC, it's kind of stacked, so it's going to be a little tougher to get all 4 teams in.
If I had to,
but the NFC, I think it's possible.
If I had to pick a team that misses, I think it's the Vikings, just because they have the most question marks at quarterback, and not again. I just defended Sam Darnold, but out of those 4 teams, I think the Vikings have the worst offensive roster. You have Justin Jefferson.
I mean, outside of Sam Darnold, outside of the most important position, they actually have some good pieces.
They have some good pieces.
They just don't have the piece.
They have some good pieces, but if you had to rank them, they're probably 4th.
I don't know. That's
a conversation for another day.
For another day. Yeah.
All right, give us your second one.
My second hot take is that with the NFL draft coming up in just 2 days, J.J. McCarthy will be the Zach Wilson of this draft. I don't understand the hype. If you look at all of these guys, they either don't have anybody around them, but they're able to elevate a bad team, kind of like what Patrick Mahomes did. He had nobody around him, elevated the team. Or they have a bunch of people around them. They have NFL caliber teams or NFL caliber players around them, but they put up insane stats. Kind of like what Joe Burrow did. Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, Justin Jefferson, all of those guys, and he put up ridiculous numbers. J.J. McCarthy did none of those. He has Blake Corum. He has Roman Wilson. He has guys that he can throw to. And he had 1 300-yard game in 2 years. That's it. He averaged, I don't even think he averaged over 200 yards a game. And he had a good team. If he's that good, why is he not being relied on more? Just something to think about.
Yeah, and you'll notice Harbaugh saying the praises of him, but Harbaugh also really wants to trade down. Get some more picks. So something to think about for sure. I like it. Justin, do you have any final thoughts on round 1 of the NBA playoffs?
I don't know. Just everybody be sure to tune in next week because we got more NBA playoff action, and we will be recapping the NFL draft because that is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I think. Or maybe just Saturday.
Maybe it's just Saturday. I think it's just 3 days.
Yeah. But we will be recapping those, giving out grades to teams potentially, and just kind of reviewing that. And, of course, more NBA playoff action. Hopefully we get some teams in the conference semis, so...
You already know one of our teams is going to piss us off. You just already know.
They're going to draft a punter from friggin' what's the random ass school that's not even real that I named? Southeastern New Hampshire, Northern
Southeastern New Hampshire,
Southern Campus or something like that.
Southeastern New Hampshire University Technical College. A&M Northern Camp, something like that. Yeah. Go Sugar Gliders, baby. All right. On that note, If you're into betting and you need somebody to kind of help you out, do some research and everything, and kind of guide you a little bit, make sure you tune into Justin here. He's got a TikTok account called Tail with Tavner, where he lists out his picks of the day, as well as the research that went into those and why he thinks they'd be a good bet for you. And as always, gamble responsibly. And on that note, guys, thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to tune in to us on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. And then be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and TikTok so that you don't miss an upload. And on behalf of Justin, I'm Ben, and we hope you all have a wonderful day.